This video is brought to you by my Ko-fi. Pledge today to receive exclusive perks. Links in the description. I've wanted to talk about Wakfu for ages. More specifically, I've wanted to talk about Nox. He's a great showcase of this series' storytelling at its strongest. His story explores the corruptive nature of power and runs with it. Nox showcases how an incredible power and an unwillingness to move on can lead to disastrous consequences. His path is one of tragedy, self-destruction, and repeating cycles. This tragedy only grows with time and context, because Nox did not start out as a monster. Let's turn back the clock and witness the birth of his madness. Initially, Noxamilian was a kind and well-adjusted man. He was a clockmaker who lived to support his family by the sea. Driven by a desire to invent and support his wife and children, he lived a modest and happy life. Nox seems nothing like the vengeful, insane man we see in the main series. That is, until he discovers the Elia Cube. His heart was forever changed when he discovered the cube. It tempted him with powers beyond his wildest dreams. He became proficient with time magic and created impossible inventions. He had the ability to dance with gods. Any feelings of complacency he once had were smothered by this ambition the cube granted him. Noxamilian now believes his old life was miserable as his insanity begins to take root. And so he transforms from a kind and loving man to a paranoid recluse who lives to endlessly innovate. Nox is undoubtedly an inventor at heart. He lives to create, to make people's lives better, to make his children and wife smile. But the Elia Cube turned his intentions sour. His selflessness turned selfish. He once invented to better the world, and now he only does it to benefit himself. Everything around him rotted due to a zealoted fascination with a cube, and it cost him dearly. When Nox learns that his family was killed in a great flood, he totally unravels. In his grief-stricken madness, he hears the cube speak to him, encouraging him to rewrite history. Nox's proclamation to the heavens that he will master time and save his family is both a terrifying and sad thing to watch, especially once you know how his story ends. I'm particularly struck by how the Noxamilian OVA ends, with Nox's haggard run during the credits. In the main series, Nox always moves with clock-like precision, but this run showcases his truest self. He's a broken man running on fumes, erratically stumbling towards a goal far beyond his reach. He refuses to let go of his family. They are the only things keeping him going after his world stopped turning. To turn back time and save his family, Nox needs an absurd amount of Wakfu energy. This energy from other living creatures will power the cube, which will take him back in time. The ends justifies the means becomes Nox's guiding philosophy with this goal, and he takes this belief to an extreme. He does not care for the lives he ruins, but it's not from a callous disregard or a simplistic evil. Nox's justification is that every atrocity he does will be undone if he's successful. When his plan works, he'll get his family back. Nobody will have died in this new world, and only he will have any memories of his crimes. He turns himself into a parasitic monster, living to drain the life of others to power the cube. I think it's very deliberate that Nox's design emphasizes his inhumanity. His bandages give him the look of an undead mummy, and the prevalence of clocks in his design goes beyond a simple visual motif. It represents how everything in his life is solely focused on reverting the clock back. He has been completely consumed by his mission. There's a messy kind of nostalgia that Nox indulges in by trying to restore his family. He still has a twisted love for his pet Igol and his family, but it's less so of a genuine bond and more so the impressions and memories of his past with them. The idea of his family propels him forwards, while simultaneously holding him back. Nox sees restoring them as the only thing he can do in life, a road to the future that winds back into his past. It's an obsession he cannot move on from or forget. As a result, he starves himself of human connection, living inside a minute and solitary existence, where the only thing that matters is the object that can bring him back. After severing so many links to his humanity, it's hard to say how much of him still genuinely wants his family back. Is he trying to save the people he loves, or is he just going through the motions? He's so divorced from his humanity that he's willing to accept dire consequences for his goals. But he is paradoxically human. He goes to these great lengths because he yearns to be with those he loves. Nox is being moved forwards by a primal feeling, a feeling of grief and wanting to undo his mistakes. He's aware of the Ally Cube's corruptive power. He understands it both as his curse, but also sees it as his salvation. It must be maddening to know that his obsession with the cube brought him to ruin, but he cannot bring himself to let go of it. There's a painful understanding that what he's doing is evil, but he'll continue to justify why he should keep going. Because if he is not steadfast in his goal, then every death on his path will not have just been collateral damage. If he were to stop halfway, then Nox will have to confront the fact that he killed and ruined countless people's lives. If he were to pause and reflect, I think he'd realize he'd gone too far. He's destroyed ecosystems, kingdoms, families, all for the chance of reuniting with his own. And even if he did succeed, would his family still love the man he'd become? Nox had the choice to stop, but refused at every opportunity. Death hangs over him at every turn. Simply put, regret is what pushes him forwards. And there are few things stronger than regret. It ties together all these threads of Nox into this messed up psyche of a man. His nostalgia for his lost past, the feeling that he cannot stop now, his insanity, his obsession with the cube, everything ties into painful mistakes he's made and continues to make. Because there's nothing more human than feeling regret. If only I did things differently. If only I didn't make a stupid choice. If only I had more time. It's incredibly potent how this story uses these feelings of grief, regret, and obsession and filters it through the lens of someone who refuses to let go. Nox wanted to live in a moment that had forever passed him by. He misses the time when he wasn't insane, when he wasn't alone, and ultimately when he was happy. But he never managed to grow past these feelings. Instead, he stakes the fate of the world on the idea that his insane plan might work. However, when weighing the scales, I don't think he ever considered that he could fail, that everything he did would only bring him back 20 minutes. The decision to have Nox turn back time, but only 20 minutes, is a fascinating one. It's an incredibly cruel way to bring him back down to earth. After being so close to success, after 200 years of work, he is only capable of getting back a fraction of his wasted time. Nox's goal was always fruitless. The countless lives he ruined for time travel were not worth it, with a reward so minuscule that it feels like the universe pulling a cruel joke on him. From my perspective, Nox's situation was unwinnable from the start. He lived a hellish existence defined by dangerous obsessions. The Elia Cube became the center of Noxamelian's life, and he neglected everything else, only realizing what he lost after it was far, far too late. Because every time we see his world crumble, it has been the result of his obsession with the Elia Cube. He let madness be his guide, and obsession be his prison. When faced with everything he did, Nox sheds a single tear. A small display of humanity that showcases he is not a cold, heartless monster. He goes from a dangerous villain with his goal right within his grasp to a dying man slowly realizing he spent 200 years ruining the world. The tear shed is not just for the loss of his family, but sorrow for all the pain and evil he wrought, which can never be taken back. Because despite how much Nox talks about his plan, he rarely discusses the possibility that he might fail. Because he didn't see failure as an option. If he did, he would have undoubtedly wavered and questioned himself sooner. And after it's clear this is over, Nox gives his final goodbye as he goes to be with his family once more. Wakfu uses the theme of family to explore many aspects of the character's psyches. For Nox, we see how far he'll go to get things how they used to be. How he sees his mistakes, and instead of growing from them, he doubles down until these mistakes become more permanent than ever. He doesn't want to be burdened with regrets and painful what-ifs. He's always moved forwards, but only so that he could stay in the past. This video is one that I've been wanting to do for years, and I'm so glad I've got round to it. Go check out Wakfu if you haven't already. It's a daunting series with a slightly weird watch order, but it's incredibly fun. I still need to catch up on season 4, but I'm excited to see more from this series and its characters. Expect more videos soon because I have got a lot more free time now. And like I said at the start, I've got a Ko-fi now. Anyone who donates will have their name show up near the end here. If you like my work, feel free to support me there. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.